Coach, how do you feel differently going this spring as opposed to the way you felt when you were in?
It's night and day. You know, last year, you know, there's a lot of firsts. Every day was basically a first, you know, when you think about it. I think a lot of times as assistant coach, you sit there and you think you're ready. You've been grooming yourself to be ready. And I feel confident. There's not a lot of things that would change that we've done. So I feel confident about the progress and the direction of the program. And, you know, this is my second spring ball. You know, we have all of our practice schedules done. We've emphasized all of our needs. You know, we're working on third down like crazy. We're working on shifts and motions. You know, we're working on the things we need to work. We have all of our meeting schedules scheduled. You know, the only thing that changes if we get some weather. But it's the first time when you sit down and map out 15 practices as a coach, it's a little bit different. You know, and I take a lot of things that we did from Kansas State when I was a player. Obviously, Bob Stoops, Steve Spurrier, Coach Zook. So some things that I like from each program, and then you kind of mold your own idea of the way you want to put things together. But the blueprint that we're using is from those groups of families, and you know, the second time around it's easier. And there's things that you change a little bit from the first time that you did that you'd probably do a little bit different. But it's fun. It's enjoyable, and these kids have made it that much more enjoyable. You know.
I'm sorry. Will there be any changes though that you take from everybody compared to last year that you're going to do this year?
I think the only major change that we're going to probably look at just trying to do is some things schematically. You know, overall scheme-wise, and you know, I think the common thing is you know, how do you get pressure on third down? You know, we had 12 sacks last year, and we've got to find a way to create more pressure on third down. And you know, third down's the money down. I tell my players that. I emphasize it all the time. We practice it all the time, and you either force someone to punt or you get them off the field. Same thing on offense. You know, you go out there and convert a big third down at 12, your team's fired up, you're rolling. And you know what? That defense just goes whoosh. You know, so, you know, all the third down work we did last year, it paid some dividends. You know, obviously we were pretty good on third down. We can get better on offense. Defensively, we got to do some things better. And it's not always just what you're asking them to do scheme-wise. Sometimes it's players, you know. Sometimes it's, you know, the ball bounced their way, the other team. So you can't pinpoint one specific thing. It's a combination of things. And we went and visited with some people that are pretty good on third down. We went and visited West Virginia. They're #1 in the country. Went to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We watched a bunch of their pressure packages. And then we visited with Mark Stoops, a good friend of mine at Florida State. Looked at some of the things they were doing and exchanged ideas. So we're going to continue to look at some different things to do so we can get some more pressure on third down and be better on third down. And we've got to, I mean, we're not a finished product on offense by no means. There's a lot of things I think we can do better on offense, and that starts with protection. You know, and you just look at sacks, well, you know, sacks are sacks, but we've got to be able to throw the ball better vertically down the field. And we've made that a point of emphasis, and that's something that we're going to continue to work on. And we've got to do a better job running the football. You know, yes, we ran the ball pretty good, but I still think there's a lot of room for employment. And I think there's some tweaks and some other things we can do in the run game and continue to be creative to find ways to get better. And same thing being said with special teams. A lot of our special team stuff are going to be working new guys in new spots for fundamentals so we can get the best guys on the field.
Coach, you stress competition. What does it take for a kid to win a job in your mind? What are you looking for in spring ball?
I think the first thing is you're looking for a guy that's going to be consistent. You know, you need some consistency. A lot of times a guy will look really good one day or play well in a game, and the next game he won't play well, or practice to practice. And I think the better you have an understanding of the overall scheme, sometimes as a young player, I was guilty of it myself, you have a tendency to have blinders on, and all you focus on is just your position. Just your position. And that's fine just to focus on your position, But to really be good and excel, you have to have a grasp or an understanding of the whole scheme, or the concept. And that gives you a comfort zone. I don't need to bite on the play action because he's got my back. You know, and those are the kind of things as you continue to learn and grow, and we'll have more, probably more meetings than usual as groups together, so guys can hear each other talk and talk through things, so that way we can grow as a team.
Do you have a better grasp with a year under your belt of the concepts and the system that you feel like can be successful?
I do. I feel much more comfortable probably than I did a year ago, because you know, I think a year ago you have visions and dreams of being able to do certain things. You get out there and try to execute them over 15 practices, and you realize you can't do that. You know, I can't ask Dana to go dunk a basketball. It's not going to happen. You know, so my thing is even though that might be something that I want to try to do, it's not going to happen. So he better stick to shooting free throws at the free throw line. What are we asking our players to do? You know, there's certain things that I like to do specifically offensively that maybe we're not geared for right now. We're going to continue to work towards that, but those are the kind of things we're trying to do. And the same thing goes with defense. You know, maybe you'd like to be able to play coverage all day. Well, maybe you don't have the defensive line to create a pass rush. So then what do? So then you bring guys, but then you give up coverage. So it all works hand in hand. You hope as you continue to raise your level of talent that you can put less stress on certain people by having better players, you know. And we're always striving to get better players. That's why everybody goes out and recruits like crazy across the country. And you know, you can't, you know, you have to have good football players. And any coach that tells you that it doesn't start with players is sadly mistaken, because it's been proven time and time again. The teams that have the best quarterback usually have a pretty good chance of being the best teams. You know, teams that have pretty good defense are usually the best teams. And I don't care if it's NFL, I don't care if it's college. It's been proven over time that you got to have some guys that you can get lined up.
Eric, will your philosophy stay the same if you have an underclassman and an upper senior even, and that advantage would go to the underclassmen?
We're gonna always try to, if it's dead even, we're gonna stick with the underclassmen there. You know, it's just something that I learned at Kansas State with Coach Snyder. You know, I don't think you can ever feel entitled just because you're a senior. You know, I'm a senior around here. I'm entitled. I think you have to earn your way, and that's the way we were all raised in this community. You know, you're going to earn your way. You're not going to be entitled to anything. And a lot of times young people, or sometimes people, feel entitled. And this, you know, this country wasn't built on people that were entitled. You got to earn your way, and that's the way it'll be in this program. And that's just one of the fundamentals that I believe in, and that's been instilled in me and guys like Bob Stoops and Coach Snyder and all those guys.
Do you hope to solidify your starting 11 on both sides by the end of spring practice?
I hope to have a pretty good idea going into the fall who they are going to be. I would say that, you know, there's probably a pretty good chance that there may be some starters that start in spring that might not start in the fall. There's probably a pretty good chance that some of these guys, you know, will have a chip on their shoulder that it will earn a starting job and will take the approach, which I hope they do. I'm not letting some guy come in here and take my job. You know, when I was at Kansas State, they brought a guy in every year, a junior college player every year, to take my job. But that's what made me excel, and he never got my job. But it made me work hard and push and practice hard and do the things I needed to do so I could be a 4-year starter. But every year they would sign a junior college guard to come in and take my job. But that's fine. That's the competition, and that's what makes you better.
Is there a position on the field that you're more excited about seeing progress and develop through spring based on the kids that you brought in this year, maybe more so than another position?
Well, you know, I think if you look at it on two sides, you know, is there one position that gets me more excited than others? You know, there's a few that I'm going to watch with a close eye. And, you know, I think if you look on the offensive side of the ball, I think it's going to be interesting to see that offensive line come together. because I think there's some talent there. They're working hard, they're stronger than they've ever been. We've added a couple of new guys. There's competition now for the guys that were here last year. And, you know, they got 15 practices to prove who the best guys are. And offensive line, there's a lot of chemistry involved. So it's going to be interesting to see that thing unfold. You know, I think anytime you watch that running back position, it's going to be interesting to see, because Jermaine Cook's one of those guys that's, I don't care how many guys you bring in, he's going to keep his job. But he knows that there is competition and there's talent. So, you know, is Allen Jones going to be content with being 3 or 4? You know, is Bellamy going to be content with being 2? I don't think so. So when you get your opportunity, another guy makes a mistake, you either jump in there and do something with it and show that you're ready, or you kind of blow it. I'm interested in seeing these new defensive linemen. You know, you roll out there with Obina at defensive end, Daniel Stewart at defensive end, Andrew Johnson, and DeCracker with Fenderson as a swing guy. You know, those guys are all pretty good players and move around. And you know, I think there'll be competition there to see how they do. It's going to be interesting to see how they match up with our offensive line. And then obviously the linebacker position. You know, Taylor Hill's back. He wants to prove he's back. You know, you got John Sasson, who you could put some, you know, you could try to bring Ray Lewis in here, and John's not going to give anything up. You know, he's just not going to. He's going to go down swinging. And Dom Rich, I'm excited about seeing him. You know, Dom Rich has gotten his opportunity now. And then some of the young kids. You got Sprague and Ali and Brandenstein. Brandenstein to run through a wall. You know, so there's 7 guys right there I just mentioned for 3 jobs. So there's a lot more competition at certain key spots to watch. Which one excites me the most? Probably our defense. You know, I want to see our defense come together. I want to see leadership develop within the group. You know, at some point the players got to take ownership and lead. You know, we can do all the coaching and yelling and screaming, but at some point the player has to step up, and someone has to take us by the back of the neck and go.
Coach, you mentioned shooting for 8,000 fans in the stands for the spring game, and even during the golden era, the spring game was not hugely attended. What's the plan for motivating that many people to come in and watch a spring game?
You know, I think it's a compliment to our community, and I probably don't say that enough. You know, last year wins and losses by far not what we want, not what we expect, not what we accept. But I've been out in this community for it seems like 4 months straight, and the overwhelming response that I've gotten from our community, which is a football town, has been positive. They're excited about our players. They're excited about the way they play. Yes, they're disappointed in the way we finished the last 2-3 minutes of a game, but they thought that we brought an exciting brand of football. They thought that we were fun to watch. They enjoyed coming to the games again, and I think that, you know, they're ready for some football. You know, this is a football town, and it's been a football town. Coach Tressel, you know, he established that, and I think people want to come out and see what we look like, and they'll have a chance to do that at the spring game. And you know, the weather will cooperate hopefully and give us an opportunity to get these people out here, and gives them an excuse to get together with some of their tailgate friends and maybe get entered in the wing eating contest. I'm thinking about getting Dana entered in that thing, see how he'll do. But you know, you gotta give them something to look forward to. And April 16th, Saturday afternoon, high noon, 75, 78 degrees. Be a good day to come out. We're gonna have some guest coaches out there. You know, we've got Senator Harry Michelle, Sam Cavelli, judge economist. So we got some people going to come back and call some ball plays and see what kind of coaches they are.
Eric, the Achilles heel last year was the final 2 to 3 minutes in a game. You mentioned it. Will you work at all on that during spring practice?
Oh, no question. We'll have a fourth quarter at the end of the day every day, and I've picked out certain things that I want to dwell on for that day. We'll work on a lot of 2-minute situations. We'll work on a lot of 4-minute situations. You guys that don't know what maybe 4 minute is 4 minute is when you have an opportunity on offense and you have the ball. and there's 4 minutes left in the game, and you got to run the clock out. Stay in bounds. Don't turn the ball over. You follow me? You know, and we had that opportunity in the Western Illinois game. At the end of the day, we didn't convert. We had a chance to run that clock out there, and we didn't. You guys all know what happened at the end of that game. But, you know, so those are the kind of situations. Work on the end of 2 minutes. The other team has the ball. You know, all we got to do is stop them. We got to lead 38-34. We need to do that. We need to work on third down. And you'll have a winner and a loser, and that group will run. So there will be stakes, you know, for a winner and loser. But we'll have one of those situations every day at the end of practice in the last 2 minutes of a game where we're working on a specific situation. And you got to embrace it. You can't shy away from it. It's the end of practice. You're tired because we're going to work them. And I want to see who's going to step up in that last segment, that fourth quarter I call it, and see who's going to get the job done. You know, can you get us a couple first downs, run the clock out? Can you make a play when the ball's in the air? We're gonna find out.